In this problem, we're told about Ramon Felipe's credit card, and we need to find the average daily balance for the billing period, find the finance charge, and then the balance due on February 8th. So in order to solve this problem, I've made a little table. You could just use lined paper to do this. And I'm going to make note of what the dates are and how the balance is changing on the card from day to day. So we're starting off our billing date on January 8th. So that's my first date. And I'm going to keep track of the balance here. And the balance on that first date is $267.99. So in this second column, I'm going to put any transactions there are. So the next transaction is on January 25th. And that is a charge, so we're going to add $69.91. And that gets us up to a balance of $337.90. Then on January 27th, there's a payment made of $200. So now we're subtracting $200 from the $337.90, and that brings us down to $137.90. And next we have a charge of $45.15. And when we add that on, that brings us to $183.05. And then there is another charge on February 6th, and that is for $130.54. And when we add that in, now the balance is $313.59. And then the period ends on February 8th, so we're going to put that at the bottom here. So now I'm going to look at how many days we had each of these balances. Now the idea here is that if I wanted to write this all out, which I really don't, I could start with January 8th, and the balance was $267.99. And then on January 9th, it's still $267.99. And then on January 10th, it's $267.99. And I would keep going until, January 24th, and it's $267.99. And then on the 25th is when there was a charge, and the balance changes to $337.90. And then we would keep going throughout the month. And because January has 31 days, there would be 31 of those. So we don't want to list all those out. That's a lot of writing, and it would be a lot of computation in order to figure out the average daily balance. So what we're going to do instead to make this go a little quicker is we're going to look at the day that we started on and the day that we change our balance. So from the 8th to the 25th, that is 17 days. I just take 25 minus 8, and that gives me 17 days. So I know that there were 17 of these up here. And then how many days was there a balance of $337.90? So now we're going from the 25th to the 27th, and that's 2 days. and then the 27th to February 1st. I literally count this on my fingers so that I don't get confused. So we're starting on the 27th. So my first finger is the 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st, and then February 1st is the 5th day. So I think it's easier to count on your fingers for that, so that's what I would do if I were you. But you just find your own way. And February 1st to the 6th, now we're back to something that's easy to subtract, and that's 5 days. And then the 6th to the 8th is 2 days. Now I want to make sure that I figured out these days correctly. They should add up to 31 because there were 31 days in January, and that was the ending date of the month that we started in. So I add together 17 and 2 is 19, and 5 and 5 added to the 19 make 29, and 2 is 31. So that looks good. That answer is going to be either 30 or 31 unless you start in February, and then of course it's, well, either 28 or 29 depending on the whole leap year situation. All right, so we've got that. Let's see what's next. So now we want to know how, we want to add up basically the balance for all 31 days. We want to add up all 31 of those balances, but the way we're going to do this is we're going to multiply the 267.99 times 17 days. And so I'm going to put this on pause while I figure out all those numbers. Okay, so I've calculated each of the balances times the number of days you had that balance, or that Ramon had that balance. And so I started with 267.99 times 17 days, and that gave us $4,555.83. And then we continued down the table doing the same thing. So the next one is 337.90 times the 2 days that you had a balance of that, and that gives you 675.80. And once we calculate all these numbers, now we want to add them together. And so that gives me a total of $7,463.56. Now this is just the sum of the balances throughout the month. So this is not an amount of money that anybody owes or has to pay or what have you. So now we want to figure out the average daily balance. And I'm going to do that over here. My average daily balance is going to equal that $7,463.56, and we divide that by the number of days. And that gives me an average daily balance of $240.76. So that's where we get that average daily balance. Now I need to find the finance charge. So the finance charge comes from taking that average daily balance and multiplying it by the monthly interest rate. So in this case, they said that was 1.2% per month. And when I do that, I'm going to do that real quick. And I get $2.89 when I round that to the nearest penny. So I've got that finance charge. And so now what is the balance due on February 8th? So I'm going to add that finance charge that we just calculated, $289, and add that to the $313 $59. And that gives me $316.48. And that's that final number. And that's how you do that problem. So it's more tedious than it is difficult. So if you practice a few of these, it makes a lot more sense. So there you go.